None of us have a perfect life. And I touched on before about adults blaming their parents for a lot of their failures. Let me go into a little bit of detail because a lot of these people emotionally manipulate other people. And it's a generational curse in a lot of families, mine included, where you have a lot of people blaming the parents for every single little thing that goes on in their adult life, even though they were taught what they were doing was wrong. And I speak from this because I had this experience a while back of doing that. And then I had to seek therapy to kind of iron that out and learn how to take some accountability for my own actions. See, of course, you didn't ask to come here, and that's understandable, but you didn't ask not to come here either. And there's a point in time, and there's some parents that are probably going through this right now, grandparents that are going through this right now, where you have that one child or you have that one grandchild that's going through a rough patch. And the minute you say anything to them that they don't like, they want to talk about your shortcomings and what you did wrong. Okay, nobody's perfect. Maybe you did some things wrong, maybe you didn't. But see, after a while, it starts to sound like a broken record. Hearing it over and over again. See what it is, instead of taking accountability and making an effort to solve their own problems, they would rather revert back to the first person within earshot and sit and shift the blame. Okay, you might have had some role as to how they think. But see, once a child comes into the world and starts going out and dealing with people and things and seeing how the world operates and encountering people from different backgrounds, some of them less fortunate than they are, when they don't feel like being accountable for what's going on in their life, sometimes it's just easier for them to just shift the blame on everybody else. And especially if you were a parent that kind of went through something yourself and had to pull yourself together. And I'm speaking to people just like me. One thing you got to do is you got to understand that this person's coming from a place of hurt. And unfortunately, the real world is going to show them, as just like it's shown us who made it through, that there are people who have less that can do more. You might feel bad for a few minutes hearing it over and over again, especially if you tried to move on with your life and do better. And I said before, you can't get inside anybody's heads. That includes your children and your grandchildren. They're going to think what they want to think, however long they want to think. So the best thing to do is just kind of let it be. And I know it's hard. It's hard because you don't want them to go through what you went through. But sometimes if you don't sit down and listen to what anybody has to say or pay attention to the possible mistakes that you see going on in your life, you have no choice but to suffer through it if you don't want to listen to anybody. And that's why I talk a lot on this channel about effective listening and communicating well. You got to speak in a way and in a tone where people are willing to listen to you. You got to be respectfully. And for all things, you got to be honest. You can't turn around and bash someone for not helping you if you've been lying about your situation. And I speak about this from past experience. It doesn't work. It does not work. And some of you might be in situations right now where you just feel that you could just lie to your loved ones because you don't want them to know the whole cold, hard truth. But the thing is about a lie, you never fully remember what the lie is, but you'll always remember the truth. Your best bet is if somebody's offered to help you or wants to help you or wants to try to understand you, where you're coming from, so they can develop a closer relationship, be honest with them. Be honest. It's up to them to decide whether or not they want to accept it or whether or not they want to continue on the relationship. But just be honest. And for some people it might be, oh, well, it's too much. Would you rather them be honest and tell you the truth now than for you to find out a huge lie later on? I think it would hurt a little bit later on if you found out everything that you was told was a lie. I've been on both sides of this, and it's just so much easier, I have learned, to just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Put it out there, and don't even worry about anybody's reaction. Just put the truth out there, and however that person takes it is how they take it. But at least you don't have the burden of being stuck in this constant rotation of having to tell a lie on top of another lie on top of another lie on top of another lie. It never ends. And your credibility gets shot. Because when you finally do have something that's honestly going on, nobody's going to be there for you and nobody's going to believe you because your credibility's been shot. My life is good nowadays. It is. But just like any other person going through life, you have good days and you have trying days. Things that happen because you didn't know what you were doing, and things that happen just out of the blue, whether unbeknownst to you. Unexpected things sometimes. So even though I did make mistakes in the past, and they were some doozies, I'm kind of thankful for the experience because, see, now when I see somebody else going down the same road, I can honestly offer my assistance and my input. But they have to be willing to listen. You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. If they don't have the headspace to do it, they're not. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Don't let anybody use emotional manipulation to get you off their case. You're only showing that you care about their situation. And for some people, they don't want to see the truth for what it really is. Just saying.